The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to the set of The Gloves Are Off. I'm your host, Carly Agro. My co-host is here, as always. Welcome, Brian Curran.
I have not much to say. You snubbed me already, so you know
what?
Move on to the next. Move on to our guest.
Oh, okay.
Good guest.
The guest is here. Braden Holtby is here, Lloydminster's very own. Welcome.
Thanks a lot for having me. Looking forward to it.
We are very happy to have you here from the AHL's Hershey Bears and also most notably from the Washington Capitals. Some killer playing time this year and awesome performances.
Yeah, a lot more than I expected, so take what I can get.
Take what you can get. Well deserved. Everyone here was very excited about it. And we talked about you a whole bunch on the show, and now we have a chance to get your input and insight on the topics today. So we will get started. Dump and change. Remember, guys, if you don't like one of the topics, you can dump it and change and move on to the next one.
Question.
Okay.
It's not flowing today, is it?
What's not flowing?
It's flowing off your tongue.
What's not flowing?
The whole show.
It's not?
Make it flow.
I'll try.
Let's flow.
I don't have sweet.
Together.
I don't
flow.
have sweet flow. Okay.
All right, let's flow it.
We're gonna try and flow. All right. First thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about Tim Thomas. He came out and made a pretty bold statement. Guaranteed the Bruins were going to win the series. He pretty much stood on his head again last night. Would either of you ever guarantee that your team is going to win a series? We'll start with you.
It's hard to say. I mean, with the guarantees, it's if you win, you look like a genius. If you don't, everyone kind of forgets about it. So you might as well kind of make sure your teammates know you're behind you or behind them and see what happens. You
don't think it's a little bit tough as a netminder?
Yeah, I'd never. Well, first of all, you got to be nuts to be a goalie anyway. I mean, there's something wrong with it.
I was a goalie too in soccer.
But see, I was too. Until I let 10 goals in one period. And then I just, you didn't know that.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
But that being said, you know what? If you do what Mark Messier did at that historic win, if you do it today and you don't win, you're a goat. I mean, you're abused for like.
Sure.
You're setting yourself up. Tim Thomas, to me, he's feeling it.
He's feeling it.
Watch the way he's playing. He's all over the place. He looks like, I don't know, Spider-Man in the friggin' net, the way he's moving all over the place. And it's unorthodox as hell, but he's stopping everything.
So you don't think it was inappropriate that he made the comment?
I would never make a guarantee, but it worked out for him. And you know what? He felt it was a good thing to do. He felt his teammates were 100% behind him.
Do you think it changed the momentum? Do you think that it was an advantage?
It's hard to say. I mean, the series was 2-2, so it wasn't like it was a big deal. I guess it could go either way. So I don't know. You can tell with Tim Thomas, he battles, but you're kind of scared every shot on him. So it's
that's true.
So you never really know with him, but he's a battler. He's if they're gonna win, he's gonna be a big part of it.
All right, I want to talk about another netminder now because we've got a little bit of a situation going on now with Tampa. Obviously, Smith started the game last night. Boucher wouldn't say who was starting. I know you do the same thing, that you don't say who's starting. My question is then, who do you start in the next game? Do you go back to Rolson or do you stick with Smith? What would you do?
I would probably stick with Rolson just because he's. His veteran presence, I got to watch him 4 games when I was up with Washington, and the way he handled himself in goal and the way he reads the plays, it's absolutely amazing. And with a guy like Smith, a guy who's had, confidence issues for the past 2 years, really, then you throw him into probably the most pressure-filled situation.
That's his first appearance in a postseason game, in a playoff
situation. And he looked really good last night. I mean, he made a couple big saves. You can tell he's got a huge ego on a couple of them, though, the way the acrobatic stuff afterwards. But anyway, that being said, me as a coach, I'm going with the experience. I watched him against Washington. He played. He was unbelievable. All the things that he would bring up that I wouldn't know about how he reads it, how he sees it. But he's that experience that you're banking on that's going to get done. And I think Boucher had a real good talk with him on that game, too.
Okay, then my other question is, too, do you think that Rolson's confidence is a little bit shaken, or do you think he's going to be that uneasy going back in? Like, would you bounce back in a situation like that?
Those goaltenders that have been around for that long, they're professional. They're, the best in the world at it. So if something like that's going to rattle him, he wouldn't be in the position he is today.
Yeah.
So he'll be ready to go if he's asked for.
He'll be more determined.
Pardon?
He'll be more determined. He's a professional, as he said. He's going to go in. I guarantee they sat down in Game 5 and said, listen, this is how I feel, him and the coach. I think they have a good relationship. He said, you know what, we'll see how this next game goes. Obviously, if they would have won in Boston, they would have gone back with Smith and this time. But this situation here, I want my guy that's been through it. I know a guy, he's professional. He's very well liked as a player. Doesn't mean he's going to stop pucks, but he's going to be there at the end of the day. It's going to be a goaltender's battle. I think it's going to go 7 games and Boston will win.
All right, that's your prediction. Okay, I want to switch over to the other series now because Sammy Sallow, this is kind of a great story. This guy could come back and maybe get the chance to be now in a cup final after battling back with his injury situation. What's the is his story the best story emerging from this series? This one kind of grabs me a little bit. I don't know if it's a cheesy thing or not.
Is it a tearjerker for you?
Well, it's kind of grabbing at the tear bank for me. I'm happy for the guy. Is that the best story for you emerging out of this series, or do you think something else?
You know, it's good to finally have a positive story. You know, all the talk has been how both teams have been underachievers in the playoffs. So it's nice to see finally someone's, you know, they're showing how good someone's doing for how hard they've worked. And you know, it's great for him. I played against him a few games on his rehab in Hershey, and you know, he's an outstanding player. Do
you think he's got the best headline story from the series?
No.
No? Then what is it for you? If that's not good enough for you, what's the best story out of this series?
I love the competition between Thornton and my buddy Kessler there.
Really?
Not my buddy at all.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being serious. I'm like, all right. I don't know.
He was trying to pull another one. He got caught, by the way, looking at the referee last night. It was perfect camera. Anyway, Kessler did.
So what's the best story for you?
I love that comp. You know what, Sallow? You know, unfortunately, he's been in a bad situation. We all have. I mean, we could all go back and look at our injuries, and it's great that he's coming back, but it's not the headline of that series to me. He's not the headline for me at all.
All right.
He's doing what he's getting paid to do. He battled back off an injury that. Great for him. I'm happy for him, and I hope he gets to go to the Stanley Cup because I'd like to see Vancouver go there.
Okay, sticking with this series then, I want to talk a little bit about Joe Thornton because that was kind of an issue. Obviously, Torres with that shoulder-on-shoulder check. Thornton didn't come back from the game. I thought he was going to be out for a little bit longer than this. He didn't do, you know, the skate before the team traveled, but now apparently he's going to be playing in the game. Do you expect to see him in the lineup?
Sure. Obviously, you know, Joe Thornton, I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves for, you know, how hard he plays. Every teammate that I've ever played with that has played with him has, you know, thought that he's takes a little bit too much heat for what he does. But it'd be great to see him play because, you know, if anyone heard the comments that BXO was making after, you know, kind of calling him out, calling him a warrior sarcastically and stuff, it's you know, whenever I see that happen, I kind of want Thornton to go out and score, you know, a hat trick or something.
Do you think somebody needs to retaliate on Torres for the shoulder-on-shoulder?
No.
No, you don't think that? You think it was clean?
That's
It's part of the game. It's part of it. They've been battling. Two teams have been battling. I mean, they're beating the hell out of each other. That being said, Thornton will be in the game because one of two things are going to happen. He's going to suck it up and play, or there's going to be a needle going in his arm. I mean, it's the Stanley Cup. You know, I mean, there's a lot of guys who freeze. I mean, I did it when I played. I mean, there's a time when you have to say how much damage can be done.
Yeah.
It's never the right thing, but I don't know what his shoulder. If it's a situation where he can be put out for 6 months, well, then he might not be playing with a needle. You know, but if it's one that's not going to get any, it's not going to be too long.
We will find out tonight either way.
He'll be in the lineup.
All right.
I guarantee it.
You guarantee it. We have a Brian Curran guarantee. Okay, well, if you would like to make a guarantee or maybe drop us a comment, we would like to hear from you. Please shoot us an email at theglovesareoff@newcap.ca. And stay tuned. There is more hockey talk to come after the break. We're going to talk about the Jets and whether or not they will be returning to Winnipeg.